I can't imagine fully stepping away from wrestling.
The one thing about wrestling, it's very physical, and I've taken my fair share of punishment.
Where to next, honey?
I'll give you the spoiler. We got a wedding to get to.
You guys are the epitome of turning a negative into a positive situation.
We've said this to each other. That is how we feel. When we were released, it was like, let's just try it all.
All the things we had on the back burner, we could finally just go ahead with it.
Where are you guys at with wrestling now?
Just focusing on all our other things right now.
You were making magic as Madcap.
I'm going to enjoy whatever it is they give me and make it the best.
What's the highlight for you, Tenille?
The first run at the NXT was just fun with the dancing and everything.
So good to see you guys. Thank you for coming by. Thank you for making this happen.
Yeah,
thanks
for having us.
Yeah.
I can't believe I somehow caught you in all of your travels. You guys have been everywhere.
Yep.
Well, her more than me. Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like you're tagging along now.
Oh, no, I am tagging along now. I'm taking full advantage.
Where to next, honey?
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
And
got it.
That's also a real question. Like, where to next?
Well, so we just wrapped up the first season of Where to Next, honey, the YouTube show.
And everyone can subscribe wherever
Yes.
they're watching this. I'll link it below.
Yeah, so we had a lot of fun, and we actually teased Where to Next, honey, but I'll give you the spoiler. We got a wedding to get to.
That's a big one. And where's the wedding?
Do we?
Oh yeah, that's it.
Drop it?
I don't know.
Well, I'll give a big hint. It's a place that's halfway between Australia and my family in Minnesota, and it is in the United States of America.
If you guess, we'll tell you.
Oh, it's Hawaii. Okay, great.
Oh, it's why.
That was a big hint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So destination wedding.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Coming up quick.
Congratulations.
Still
Look at the
gotta
size
write
of
my
this
vows.
rock on your hand. Yeah.
I love my ring. He did good.
Did you know it was happening?
No, I didn't. I guess, so our story is kind of funny because I won't tell the whole thing, but when we first got together, we'd known each other for a long time, and then we'd never really looked at each other in that way, in like romantic way up until a certain point.
Were you friends at this point? Just
Yeah.
work
Yeah.
colleagues? Or?
Yeah, we worked together for like,
friends, and like I was, we were both close with Cassie and Jess,
The Iconics.
The Iconics.
Of course, yeah. The
and
Aussies
so
stick together.
Shout out.
we would,
Yeah.
hang out within groups like that often. Not often, but from time to time, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, so anyway, I was just going to say, when we finally got together, we kind of said to each other, look, let's just keep it kind of casual. We don't have to spend like 24/7 with each other, because he was in Vegas and I was in town a lot. And then basically, as we said that, we just started spending 24/7 together and we just never stopped. And it just kind of was natural and we loved it. And that was it. So I think what I was getting at is we knew pretty early, we had like conversations about what we wanted in our futures. And I think we knew pretty early that we wanted, that we wouldn't take, if we were with the right person, we wouldn't take a long time to get to that point, like of getting married and whatever else is next. So I think in my head, I knew that we were like pretty much there already, but then I actually did start to think, is he going to ask me soon or what?
Well, quick side story. So, like pretty early in our relationship, Tenille, me, and my brother Matt were all hanging out together, and it was just a casual conversation that turned into a pretty intense debate between my brother and I about like whether or not we believed in getting married and whether it was necessary or useful, or like, we like to get into these arguments, but it got like fairly heated where it was like kind of awkward for Tenille
to the point where I was like, oh, I'm going to go inside, guys. You guys just finish it
I
up.
took the side of marriage.
Sure.
And so that's kind of another background context to this whole thing where like everything was super easy and smooth with us right off the bat. And like she said, we were hanging out all the time. And she saw me have this vicious debate with my brother about, how marriage
is this commitment to each other.
Yeah, and it's a good thing and it's useful. And
you don't think you need to wait, 4 or 5 years to know if you want to marry someone.
Yeah, it's about making
and then so I guess in my head I was thinking, well, we're getting married, Well, it was just, there was never any question that like there was never an issue with us. So I guess I just had it in my head, and then I was like, is he going to ask me? And then so I didn't know the exact moment was happening. I had no clue he had bought a ring we were in Australia, and he'd been speaking with my best friend to sort out a proposal. So it was very cute, and it was in my hometown, so it was nice.
It's funny how like cliche it is that when you know, but I got engaged to my wife on our 1-year anniversary, and then we ended up, finding out she was pregnant a handful of months later. Like, it's so true. When you know, like that's just your person.
Yeah, and you know that when it actually happens, because I never knew it until it happened.
And that's why it sounds cliche, because if you're not there experiencing it, it just sounds like a nice thing that people say.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah. So now the wedding is coming up. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
You guys just got a house you're living in Arizona now?
Yes. We're in Phoenix.
Yep.
So how do you were in Vegas, Mike.
Yeah.
You were in Orlando, right?
Yeah. Well, he was
Sort of.
before as well. And then I was traveling a bunch. I had a van that I was kind of traveling the country in for a while. And then I ended up in Vegas as well.
Nobody loves traveling more than you.
No, I don't know. Maybe not. I do love traveling.
You're everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's February as we sit here right now. Where could possibly be left on the bucket list?
There are a lot of places still.
Oh yeah.
Like
There's a lot. Well, so on our first date, she told me she's having her honeymoon in Greece. She didn't say I was coming, but she told me that's where it's going to be.
You are coming, so lucky you.
Yeah, we still got to finalize that. But yeah, we have a few coming up. The one that I'm super excited about is actually next fall. You're going to have to help me with the name. Is it Katmai?
Katmai National Park in Alaska.
So it's a remote location in Alaska that has great bear watching opportunities, but we're also going to go up there and fish, hike. I think
it's like glaciers.
And
yeah.
So
you have to get small seaplanes around, and
it's only
just this,
accessible by seaplanes. So.
Awesome place in nature.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
That kind of rugged wilderness frontier. That's my jam.
You guys are like the epitome of turning a negative situation into like an absolutely positive situation. You're just going, all right, well, now we've got time to travel the world. That's exactly what we're going to do.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's a big positive.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, great.
Yeah. Well, no, it's funny you mentioned that, because that is, and we've said this to each other, that is how we feel. It's almost like we felt when we were in WWE, there were so many things that we wanted to do that we couldn't do. And then when we were released from that, it was like, well, let's just try it all. And so that's what we're doing.
All the things we had on the back burner, we could finally just go ahead with it.
Because what's the most amount of time you have when you're in WWE? 3 days to travel?
It does vary. I mean, there were times where there was, in one of the times where early in our relationship where we were talking about keeping it casual and we weren't going to hang out too much, I went into an injury storyline with Corbin, and at first it was only going to last a week, but then they just kept calling me on Thursday like, hey, actually, we're going to do it another week. And so I ended up having like a month off, and we were just hanging out that whole time. So there are times where, and if you're not on the weekend live events, the non-televised events, you can have 5-6 days off. But it's just... Sorry?
Typically, it's just not a huge amount of time. It's hard to plan.
It's hard to plan when that's going to be, because there's certainly the last minute changes where, I thought I was off this weekend. I was about to head out on a trip. Now I can't.
You got a phone call the last minute.
Yeah, and either way, it's at worst case, you got to be week to week ready,
Yeah.
So many people, though, are like, when they get released from WWE, they're excited for day 91, right? Like, I'm going to take all these indie bookings. I'm going to do all these autograph signings. You guys have gone in a different direction. You've started your own businesses. You've got the YouTube channel. What was the idea behind that of like, we're going to go do a whole bunch of other things instead?
Well, I will say that I was that person the last time I got released.
Yeah.
I literally had everything lined up. I had new entrance music. I had like world tours planned, and I went and wrestled for, the top companies around the world.
Yeah, you were everywhere.
And I did like different countries, tours, everything. So I definitely have been there. And I think this time it was more of that thought of, now let's do all the other things that we haven't been able to do, that, like the new businesses we're starting and all of those things. It was like an opportunity and like a positive in that sense.
So what are the businesses you guys have going on?
Yeah. Well, so there's a few of them, and
congrats.
Because, well, thank you.
We're just diving into everything.
Yeah. I mean, because there really is, it kind of was like, when we first looked at it, it was like, oh, we want to do this and this. And then a week later, it's like, actually, I kind of want to do that too. And it got to the point where it's like, screw it, let's just try it all. And so For me, I mean, the YouTube series we've already mentioned. For me, the Rallis regimen, which I just launched with my brother, it's a holistic health and wellness program for people that basically what we have done is all you have to sign up. You just have to sign up and you get all of this for free. And it's completely comprehensive guides to training, nutrition, sleep, and environment. They're easily digestible and they're immediately actionable. So basically, there's so much information out there, and we help people sort through that, make it simple and actionable right away. Implement it right away.
So where can people get this for free?
This is at rawlissregimen.com.
Okay, great.
So like I said, all you got to do is put in your email or create an account, sign up, and you get all of that plus training program templates. And we're going to keep adding stuff. Like next month, probably I'm going to give my program away so people can train with me. And we'll be doing the same deadlifts, whatever it is, every day.
And we'll look just like you. Wow.
That's all you got to do. Yeah,
there you go.
Yep. Results guaranteed.
This episode is sponsored by Blue Chew. It is not a coincidence that these lights behind me are blue. Blue Chew is a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra, but it's in chewable tablets, and it's a fraction of the cost. Now you may be saying, I don't need anything like that, and I'm not suggesting that you do, but it may just kick things up just a little bit in the bedroom for you. If you've ever had a friend talking about how good things are and can be when you take Blue Chew, now is the time to jump in on this. Your first month is free. You just have to pay $5 for shipping when you use the promo code CVV at bluechew.com. That's right, your first month for free. Just pay $5 for shipping when you go to bluechew.com. Try it out. I think you will be rather pleasantly surprised. Okay, so that's one of the many businesses.
Yeah, that's
and there's also the YouTube channel. And Tenille, what do you have going on?
So I launched my own travel website. It's a travel concierge service.
See, nobody loves travel more than you.
It's called bucketlosttravels.com. And that's the thing, was we talked about what we were most passionate about and what we enjoy and things that we like to share with, people in our lives or our audience. And for me, it's very clear I love to travel. So that this website has a travel blog. I talk about places I've been or, new opportunities. And then I also have a shop where I sell itineraries and guides. So people can literally go purchase them, and it tells them exactly, the best spots to go for meals, the best hotels, hikes. It tells them like hidden gems, best photo spots. Like for instance, probably by the time this airs, I'll have a new Paris itinerary up. It's a guide with a free itinerary actually. And that'll tell them like some best places to take photos for the Eiffel Tower, but that people don't know about. So you see like my page and I have these pictures and these places, and I find people always saying to me, how did you find that place? Or like, how did you go there? Or like, how did you arrange this? And so basically I'm just kind of putting it together and saying, this is how you do it. Just go click the button and get it.
So what's the best way that people can find that? Is it a website?
Yeah, bucketlosttravels.com.
Okay, great. Perfect.
Yep. So
I felt for you when you got released, because earlier that day you were like, it's a dream, Elimination Chamber in Australia. Incredible.
It's awkward.
Then a few hours later, you're like, oh, by the way, I got released from WWE.
Yeah.
So what happened in between those two tweets?
Got released.
I got released.
Simply put.
Yes. It was a rough day. I will say, since I returned to WWE, it was definitely a thought and a goal of mine to be able to do a big show in my home country, and even just to return there in general on a tour. And it's something that I did ask many times about when I was there. When's the next tour? Because they haven't been there for years because of all the the lack of travel and the restrictions for years. But basically, I kept asking, and I thought it wasn't happening. And then so it was kind of a surprise when I saw that tweet that there was a show happening there. I still hadn't been told by anyone. So then I was like, wow. And I just thought, what a dream to be able to wrestle there. And then throughout the next few hours or so, we started hearing that people were getting released. And at that point, I can't say that, like, we were basically expecting calls at that point. Like, we were kind of, in that position where we thought, we're probably going to get released. And then we did. So
Do they call you guys together?
no, it was
And we actually
individually.
weren't together at the time. So
So
I was just at the archery range, and that I felt bad not being there with Tenille when she got the call, especially given what had happened earlier that morning. I was with her when they announced the Australian show.
So do one of you guys get a call first and you're like, oh, wow. And then it's like, okay, is the other shoe going to drop here? Like, are we going to get another phone call? Like, so who got called first?
I actually don't remember. I missed the call.
I think you did, but he just didn't answer the call.
I didn't intentionally
then you
not
don't
answer.
get released.
It was just,
Yeah, it's like,
that's
it
what I
never
heard, you know?
happened.
Yeah.
So I think you got the call. So we had heard, and a friend of ours had got a call first. So he'd texted me and told me. I was like, and I guess it never occurred to me like one of us wouldn't get one. I just thought we're both getting calls,
Yeah.
and we did.
But there are situations where like wrestling couples, I'm thinking like Matt Cardona and Chelsea, like one gets released and the other doesn't. The other gets to stay there for another year. This could have happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like they could have had something for one of you guys and not for the other.
Yeah. If that, I'll tell you, for me personally, I would have felt very guilty if it were me staying. I probably wouldn't have wanted to stay. If it was her who was staying, I would have been totally fine with that. I would have been happy for her. And I don't, maybe she would feel the same way. I'm not sure, but I just felt like, and maybe for me, it's partially the fact that, I mean, obviously I didn't get to do everything there is to do in the industry, but I had that year and a half as Madcap that I felt pretty good about, where I got to really express myself, at least in this character, and have a ton of fun with, like, you have no idea how much fun I had as Madcap. And
It was fun to watch.
it was a great time. And I got to do goofy stuff. I still got to wrestle in long matches against great opponents. I mean, and just had like I was just part of the team. I was a mainstay on the television show with a defined actual role. And I felt good about that. And I just felt like, of course, I'm sure there's literally, Roman Reigns probably feels he's not used to his fullest potential, and maybe he's not. It's just like, that's probably not going to happen for 99.9% of people. But I really felt like Tenille had so much more she could contribute and do, and she just really never got the chance to do it, especially the second time around. So I definitely felt like I wish she had gotten more.
Where are you guys at with wrestling now? Because you put out this message at the end of 2023. I'll read it here so that people know exactly what we're referencing here. You said, 2023 was filled with highs and lows. The man of my dreams proposed to me, and I lost my dream job at the company where we first met. While I'm not sure if I'll ever wrestle again, I am sure that I'll turn this into a positive. No restrictions, no putting things on the back burner, time to follow my heart. That's so beautifully written, but you're basically saying, I don't know if I'll wrestle again.
Yeah. I will say I was a little, disappointed with that last run and a little upset with how things went. I do think I had a lot more to contribute, and I had very high hopes when I returned, and it just didn't turn out the way that I would have liked. But in saying that, we did see it as a positive when we just weren't being used, So when we finally got released, we were like, okay, let's go do the things we want. And that has been very exciting. So I think at this point, we're kind of focusing on that. And we do have a tour coming up in Australia that we have committed to. And so we're going to do some...
We are wrestling again.
Because a tour could mean lots of things.
Yeah.
So yes, there is some autograph signings and a match that we'll both have. Yep. But past that, we are kind of just focusing on all our other things right now. And yeah, I guess I can't imagine ever fully stepping away from wrestling. It's been my dream since I was a little girl, and that was the only thing I ever, really wanted to do. And I mean, I'm so glad I've gone after it and had the career I've had. So it would be hard for me to say like, I'm done with wrestling, but in that same instance, I am not actively pursuing anything, or I don't have a plan moving forward at this point either.
Yeah.
And what about you, Mike?
I mean, I would probably echo a lot of what she's saying. I mean, you know, like I just mentioned, I had so much fun wrestling, and I met so many cool people. Like, I love wrestling. Having said that, there's a lot of other things I really love that I want to pursue. And the one thing about wrestling, and I when I was a football player, I used to say this, the one guaranteed thing is, like, it's going to come to an end. And it's very physical, and I've taken my fair share of punishment with, I've, you know, Achilles ACL surgery. I've got a wonky eye from a few too many concussions and blows to the head. So, like, that's definitely a consideration, is the health. And as much as I love the wrestling part of wrestling, there's a, you know, political side of wrestling that I don't necessarily love. And all of these businesses that we're doing have its own, I mean, I feel like we're way busier than we were with WWE. Like, it's just
so busy.
As anyone who's tried to do anything on their own, of their own entrepreneurial venture of any kind, knows there's a lot of work that goes in up front, and it's stressful and it's exciting and it's fun. But there's something to it being all on you and not having to worry about who you're rubbing the wrong way or anything like that. And just, am I standing the correct way to not anger the wrong person, or what does so-and-so think of me? There's just, it's really freeing to
no drama in that
no
sense.
drama.
And there's no expiry date when you have your own business. You know, you can only wrestle till a certain age.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
You can run your own business till you're 60, 70, 80, 90, whatever, however long you want to do it. And that's, you know, that's kind of the great thing about it. You're in the driver's seat with that.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So if you've been watching the channel long enough, you know that I'm not always wearing t-shirts for interviews. I like to suit it up, whether I'm covering the red carpet for something like the Iron Claw in Dallas, or I'm sitting down for a celebrity interview, or this interview as well, the one with Cody that we did on his bus. But the problem I've always run into with business casual menswear is finding something that's high quality, but at the same time also durable. And that's what I found with Roan. And look at that, through the magic of editing, I am now wearing my favorite dress shirt ever from Roan's Commuter Collection. And they have products for every occasion. On top of these dress shirts, they've also got the world's most comfortable pants, quarter zips, polos, and blazers. So the thing that makes this shirt so good is how comfortable it is. 4-way stretch technology. That means it stretches both this way and this way. So no matter how you move, no matter how you're sitting in an interview, it's gonna be comfortable. I'll also let you in on something. I don't love getting my clothes dry cleaned because it's just such a hassle. Roan's Commuter Collection is treated with Gold Fusion anti-odor technology, which means more wears between washes and no lingering odors. You know what I'm talking about. You put the shirt on, you go, yeah, good enough. None of that here. Try it out for yourself at roan.com/CVV and use the code CVV to get 20% off your entire order. That's RHONE.com/CVV. Use the code CVV to get 20% off. This shirt is just so good. Did you think, Tenille, that you'd be getting a call to go back to WWE? Because it had been 5 years.
Yeah. So I didn't for a long time. And it didn't really even cross my mind, honestly. For a long time, I was, you know, wrestling for companies around the world. I was super busy. And
yeah, you were doing a lot of stuff with Impact, Ring of Honor. Yeah.
I did AEW's, the first show, All Out, I believe it was, or All In, with the all women's match. And so, you know, I was doing a ton, and I guess I've lost my train of thought.
Did you think you were going to be getting a call back?
Yeah.
Mike's doing the interview now.
Like, help me out here. So I think it was after Mike and I got together, and then the management switched at WWE, and that's when I thought, and Triple H started bringing other people back, and that's when it crossed my mind, oh, maybe I could go back. So that was the first time I thought of it. And that's kind of the way it went. Basically, I ended up having a chat with Triple H, and he said to me, you've been on my list to call. And basically a few weeks later, I had a contract.
That's pretty amazing. That's a great thing to hear,
It was almost like a bit like, oh, I can actually go back. Like, I didn't even, it was a bit strange.
The way it timed up with your contract with Impact running out kind of at the appropriate time. It just kind of all fell together, the right place, right time.
You were making magic as Madcap, but I'm really curious where, like, because it was a whole new gimmick, it's a whole new name.
Yeah.
How does that even get presented to you?
So I had well, first I came up as, to summarize my career real quick on the main roster, I was Mojo's O-lineman, which was that's its own story. That was not at all what they wanted. It was what was written on the paper, but someone got confused. They didn't want him doing football references. Anyway, a few weeks later, I turned on him and I had a run as 24/7 champion. When COVID hit, that kind of took the 24/7 thing to the side for a bit. And then I came back on Raw Underground. I tore my ACL on that. And then I came back and I felt really good about where I was at. And I made, some Riddick Moss pitches, and they were bringing me up. I did one dark match on SmackDown. And then the next week, they said, yeah, we're going to bring you back for another dark match. And then the night before, like Thursday night, they said, actually, you're going to be on SmackDown with Baron Corbin. And this is, Corbin soon, Happy Corbin. And, his game. He's got the custom tailored suits and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, dude, I brought something like this, like I do not have the appropriate wear. So like we were in Philly. My brother was living in Philly at the time. I went and raided his closet. I got some stuff, but not enough. And then like went shopping and just like got a nice thing. And so I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing. And then I sat down with, first it was Corbin, but then Vince, and basically he told me, what the shtick was, but I didn't have a name yet. And so, and Corbin, to his credit, he warned me. He said, he's going to make you laugh, so be ready for that. And so he, he explained, like, basically, you guys just think everything's hilarious. You know what I mean? Like,
What a fun character to play.
You couldn't be
Love
Riddick
that.
Moss in that character?
So then he said, we have to come up with the name. And I said, just to be clear, are we talking like a moniker or like a whole new name?
Right.
And unless I misheard, I'm pretty sure we said moniker. And so I'm thinking, okay, so it's going to be like Riddick the Clown Moss.
Sure, yeah.
Not that, but something.
Yeah.
Good one.
Doink Part 2. So then I'm on my way to SmackDown the next week on the plane, and I get a text like, hey, from the writer, you're going to be Madcap Moss now. And so I thought that was pretty funny, and like, well, probably there goes the main event of WrestleMania. And then a couple minutes later said, here's the idea we have for your look, but on the plane, you can't download pics. So I had a whole flight across country, like
what
is
is
this
it?
look going to be?
Oh, man.
And then I hit download when I got when we landed, and it was what the look was basically, the suspenders and the shirt and the kind of short pants. And they were like, you didn't happen to bring suspenders, did you? Like, no.
I just happened to pack
All
them.
guys have them in their bags.
I come completely prepared with 3 bags of gimmicks just in case. So anyway, I had to go buy those. Or I think maybe they helped me out with that. But so it kind of just came together like that. And like I said, Vince made sure I could laugh. And at this point in my career, I think in a good way, I had kind of I had done a good job of relinquishing the things that you can't control. Actually, I just heard you on Savvy and Mandy, I think they were interviewing you.
Control the controllable.
Control the controllable.
John Cena told me that, and I will never forget those 3 words.
Yeah, it's great. I'm a full, firm believer in that, and I think it's very hard to do in probably anything, but I know for me in wrestling, it was like, because you don't want to be the guy that's just like, hey man, I'm just here for the paycheck, like, you know. That's not a good place to be, because then you're not giving your all to it. But you also don't want to be the person that's like every little detail you love, you're just so hard-headed on that, like you're just
enjoy
miserable.
yourself.
Yeah. And you see so much of that.
But it's an interesting thing, because in television and movies, people are content being, a secondary character. People are content having one line. Like, you don't see Newman on Seinfeld being like, I should have been George. Like, I can't believe it. He's just happy being that character.
That's a weird comparison to the wrestling world.
Yeah. Well, it's honestly, that's 100% the outlook I took. And so when I was, for example, when Corbin and Drew were building to their Mania match, like, and I had been given a little bit of shine prior to this, but like Drew was just running through me constantly. And like the producers, everyone's like, dude, don't worry, like your time's coming. And I was like, dude, Drew's the main character on this show. Like I understand
You're
that.
trying to like get yourself
It's okay.
over.
Yeah. I'm okay with this role. It's a fun role. Like, and maybe, you know, some people would say like that, well, that's what holds you back eventually is like, you got to be selfish and this and that. And like, I'm just not willing to compromise myself and be like a worse person than I want to be and throw people under the bus and stuff like that. Like, no, I'm going to enjoy whatever it is they give me and make it the best. Like, I'm not going to just, like I said, I want to be the guy that shows up and just coasts along for the paycheck. I'm going to give it all I have. But like at that point in my career, I had taken a pretty good perspective on like, whatever they give me, I'm going to be okay with. I'm going to have fun with it. And a lot of people were coming up to me like, don't worry, dude, you'll get out of these suspenders. Like, it'll be fine. Like, you'll get, and I'm like,
It was great for you that time in the
like,
career.
don't take me out of them. Like,
you're on the
fun.
main show every week.
Yeah. And there's just like little things too. Like in NXT, when Adam Pearce was my producer, I would do this De Niro impression. And, you know, he would have me do
We
like,
need
Have
to
him do it. He has the best impressions.
We need to see it now.
and that's all I would do.
There's not even words.
Sometimes you know. And so he would have me.
He
would
needs
have
to be
me
in movies.
He would
That's
have
what
me
you
do
should
it
be
at
doing.
live events. I would love doing.
There's
acting
still
stuff
time.
Like that. Yeah, there
Yeah,
is
He's
still
so
time.
got
good
another
at
70 years to be in movies.
Exactly.
Accents and impressions and everything.
Oh, give us your best Australian accent.
Oh,
that's
mate.
that's the one he sucks at.
She claims I suck, mate, but I don't.
You do suck at that.
No, I don't.
No, he's just giving
No.
me a hard time.
It's chalkers in here.
Oh gosh, the two of you out, out.
Get at
Can you say, Tenille, can you say hamburger?
Hamburger.
Oh, that's pretty good.
hamburger.
Hamburger.
That's the word that Australians
Hamburger.
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 Hamburger, mate.
Every time we watch a new series, he'll basically like the day after he'll start doing like some facial thing. I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like, are you okay? and then I'll be like, oh, okay, you're VM Varga or whatever we watched.
Yeah, I was big.
In Fargo we watched.
I was Kevin Costner. What's in Yellowstone for? I still
a
am
long
from time
time.
to time.
Well,
A lot of sniffling.
now he needs to show up.
Yeah, well, I suppose I do.
Have you seen it?
He never looks at the person he's talking to. Well, he does, but rarely.
There's a lot of looking around.
Yeah, well, I guess I'll look.
I feel like Jason Statham could come out of that one right there.
Well, Statham's got that death stare.
Jason Statham.
Jason Statham. Yeah, that's good. That's pretty good right there.
I'm in a movie. I have a gun.
That's good.
I've interviewed him. He never looks at you when he interviews.
Oh,
you.
really?
Yeah. I don't think he wants to be there.
Yeah, I can see that. It's pretty good.
I feel like so.
Anyway, I got to do stuff like
What a tangent we went off on
yeah,
there.
right. Seriously.
I know. I was thinking, what else can you do good?
Yeah. What else? What else you got?
Well, I mean,
us some
like
other ones.
I did love
got a Stallone?
Braveheart.
Feel like
and
everyone has a
I got to
Stallone.
do I got to do a Scottish accent on TV.
Yeah, that's
That's right.
where
You know,
Okay, that's where we're heading
my
with
thought
this.
was.
yeah, but I got to
Drew.
I did the De Niro thing. Like Corbin eliminated me as a prank from a battle royal, and I was like upset, and then I wasn't, and I was thinking De Niro and analyze this or that one of whatever. You're good, and I did that on TV, on national TV, and like it worked with the storyline. So it's not like I was like ruining the TV segment, but also could make myself and one other person in the world that knew what I was doing laugh.
Yeah.
And it was just like that's a great
it's a
role.
good
That's a
memory to
great
have.
life. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Yeah.
no complaints. You know?
In that same time you're doing this stuff with Drew, there was that really scary moment where he gives you the Alabama slam.
Man, yeah.
Yep.
You landed right on top of your head.
Yeah.
And in slow motion,
Oh, nasty.
your head like folds in, like your
Yeah.
neck folds.
Yep. So first of all, 100% my fault. Let me just not at all trying to throw Drew under the bus. He walked through it with me, and it's just one of those things that I guess it's like a guy thing, not asking for help when you need it or clarification.
You just didn't quite.
But when we
hadn't done
walked
it
through it,
before.
he was doing it half speed. You know what I mean? He's not actually finishing it. So it felt to me like, oh, I got to help him a little bit, but I didn't have to help him. And so anyway, that's what happened. I was fine, and I knew it went wrong. it's just because I didn't land flat, you know, but I was never loopy or anything like that. So when the ref came in and checked on me, Jess, she checked on me multiple times actually, because she was like, "You good? Good? Okay.
Like, are you sure?
Are you sure you're good?"
Oh,
yeah.
Were you seeing stars? Did
No.
you
And I was just
get winded?
He got really
No,
lucky.
I was fine. It didn't feel great, but mentally and everything, I was all there. And after the match, you know, I knew. Well, actually, what happened was we went to the outside after that, and Drew was throwing me over the table and stuff, and I heard Corey Graves say, "I don't even know how he's walking right now." And I thought, maybe that was a little worse than I thought. But anyway, I felt fine, and so like I knew everyone was going to be like, "Oh my God, are you okay?" And I was just like, guys, I'm fine. And they brought me up to Gorilla and showed me the super high definition, super slow motion where you're talking about, where my spine just went like, it looked like it just went shrunk, you know.
Like you should have broken your neck or something.
Vertebrae by vertebrae. And I thought, okay, let's go check this out just to be safe, because that looks nasty, and I got to go call my mom.
So did you get an MRI?
I did, and we got all the scans after that, and it was like, I had a sore neck, but
You think?
Yeah, it was never anything worse than that. But It just looked so nasty. I thought, I don't care what I'm feeling. We got to check that out. And they were great about it.
So going back to the comedy stuff, like there's something about going into it and committing to it. And that's what you did, right? Like, I feel like you, with the dance and also the stuff with Santino, like you completely commit to it. And that's what got you over in such a big way.
I would say it's comparable in the sense that it was like probably the most fun time of my career. And it was just me, like, and this is how we are in real life too. Like, we joke all the time. We give each other a hard time, and we make fun of ourselves. So like, that's the perfect thing to put into a character, is to be able to like embarrass myself to make other people laugh, or to do something silly and get people to do it with me, or whatever it is, or interact with Santino, who's hilarious. So I just embraced that and really enjoyed it. And those times are like some of the best memories, when you're just like laughing, having fun. It doesn't really even feel like you're working.
Yeah.
How did the dance become a thing?
I don't know. Luck.
But I heard you say something about Byron Saxton played a small role in this.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it was just back at NXT, or even maybe FCW, that old building back in the day. And we were going through entrance music to pick. And then I was like, that one's kind of like weird but quirky kind of. And I like a lot of like dubstep kind of music, or, you know, like club kind of music. And anyway, so that came on, and I was like, I don't know, it's something to it. It sounds a bit different. And then I think it was Saxton was kind of like, well, you could try like I'm like, what would I do? You know, he's like, you could try some kind of like dance. And at first it was a very like Egyptian. I can't even think yeah, it was just completely, I was like, that's just like an Egyptian dance.
That's what
like,
Rhonda did.
Yeah, that's what she did back to me, yeah. So I was like, well, I don't know, I could play with it a little bit. And that's kind of what happened, is it was some kind of just do something, move around, something with your hands or your arms. And then the more I kind of did it, the more silly I just kind of went, whatever, who cares, you know? So I just like, and then just spin in circles or this or that. And then it became like, I started bringing bubble guns and then popping my bubbles, and I was just thinking, what can I do with this that makes it like in someone's face, and I just kind of had fun with it. And that's when I started doing the whole, you know, all the puns with my name, Emma and Evolution, and all those things. The Emma Mite sandwich was like my squishing move in the corner, just silly things, but I was just having fun with it, really.
Yeah. But then you see everybody in the audience is doing this, and you're like, okay, this is over now.
Yeah. That's what I mean. I just kind of, it probably should never have got over, but it was just something fun, I guess, and interactive. And maybe it was something about me just kind of having fun and being oblivious and not caring, and that made people want to do it with me.
Yeah, it's infectious. I mean, you always hear it, but I do think when you're authentic, the crowd can feel it, you know, and they're way more likely to get behind it if it is authentic.
Why wasn't this part of the new run? Like,
I don't know. You'll have to ask Triple H.
I'll ask. That'll be question number one when I see.
Why didn't she get to do the dance?
I just felt like it was really over. You know.
Yeah.
I would have loved that. And even a different variation of a character where, you know, I enjoy making people laugh, and making fun of myself. So like, I would absolutely love to do a character like that.
Yeah.
I feel like we're kind of jumping all over the place here, but We're seeing that with these cold plunge videos. Okay. So like I have a plunge. I have a plunge in my backyard. I do it every day. I did it this morning. We've got it dialed way down. What do you guys keep it at?
39 is
Same. Okay, great. The lowest it goes.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
You going in there definitely makes people laugh.
Yeah.
So Stone Cold posted the video, right, a few weeks back or something.
Did you see that one?
Yeah.
And
Wait, why was he in there with his shirt?
I don't know. It was
Well,
like
I think
it seemed like he just didn't know what a plunge was, basically, when he didn't know what he was getting into.
Yeah.
So anyway, his video was pretty funny. And I said to Mike, we have that video that you took of me. And I was like, mine's pretty bad too. But obviously, well, when you watch it, you can tell. And I said it on my caption, but that was like first thing in the morning. It was like 6 or 7 a.m. I look half asleep still. I've literally just like pulled my hair back and I'm like trying to wait for the sun to come out to get some kind of heat so I'm not like freezing before I even get in the cold plunge. And I've never done it either. I mean, he does it all the time. So he's filmed this thing and we have this video and it's just absolutely ridiculous. Like I look like just the biggest idiot. And I sound like, oh my God, it hurts. Like I'm so pathetic. So pathetic. It's so bad. I just thought, it's such a good video. Just like let people have a laugh at me. Like
you got to do it every day. Like that's the whole thing. It's like ripping the Band-Aid off, like just getting used to doing it.
So I will say, on our most recent YouTube, we actually posted my second attempt and as well as, yeah, that's a good word for it. As well as my friend Joy and Danielle Summeray, they came over. So I posted all of their reactions to it too. So it's quite funny. Yeah. But I will say my second, I think, was a bit better than my first, but I'm still wasn't great. So I still thought it was pretty amusing.
Yeah.
But after that, I did try more and more and I did learn how to I became good at it, I would say. My key is I have to cover my toes because my feet just can't stand it. So I get a little booty cover for my toes and I'm good. But now it's been cold, so I've just been avoiding it.
Yeah, I think it's
summer,
way
I'm
more
good.
intimidating
Yes.
when you head out first thing in the morning and it's already, I don't know, what are the lows like here in the morning? Are they in the 30s?
Yeah, 40s now, like 48,
so
47.
yeah, when it's that or colder, it's way different than like summer in Phoenix when you go outside and it's already 85. It's kind of like, sounds nice.
There's also something about sitting in there like midday when like it is sunny.
Yeah.
Even if it's not warm, it's like there's sun on your face.
Yep.
But I think though, like if you can get that out of the way, especially early in the morning, you've done something hard and you've done something you don't want to do.
Yeah.
So like you've already proven to yourself, like if I've already done this thing I don't want to do, that is difficult. Well, I can take on these other things today that might be difficult or things that I might not want to do.
I'm with you.
And they actually, I mean, there's studies that kind of, I'm almost a little skeptical of some of the claims that people make with cold therapy, but certainly some of the most like robust findings have been that it increases like dopamine, which is like the motivating drug.
Oh, for sure. When you get out of there, you feel fantastic.
Yeah, like you're ready to attack the day.
Yeah.
And whether that's subjective or whatever, or it's the chemicals, like whatever it is, I feel it certainly.
Have you done the snorkel plunge yet?
Is that where you go all the way in? I don't think so.
I just started doing that.
Do you literally put a snorkel
I'll show
on?
you a video after. I bought a snorkel on Amazon for $15 or whatever. I will say you have to turn the temperature up because I went in there at 39 and after like 15 seconds, I had like the biggest brain freeze.
Yeah. I can see
and I came out, I was like, oh. So I looked up a video on Plunge's website. I'm like, how do you do it? And they said, the first thing you do is you turn the temperature up. So I turned it up to like 50 or 51. And I'm under there for 45 to 60 seconds.
Yeah.
And it's a different feeling.
Yeah.
You should give it a try.
I'll do that.
I like wash my face with cold water in the morning, so I'm good.
It's totally the same thing.
That's my cold therapy.
Yeah, she'll walk up to me after I've done the cold plunge and I'm doing one of these and she's like, ooh, cold therapy, both of us. Both of us, really.
I feel like my feet are still, like my toes are still cold from plunging 3 hours ago.
Yeah.
It's funny how it stays with you throughout the day.
Yeah. First time I had her do it in Vegas one time. We didn't have the plunge, but the pool was getting cold enough.
Yeah.
And we did a pretty long one, I think, maybe 3 minutes or something. Anyway, she was shivering for
was a
like
good
3
spot.
hours after.
And then I was purple the rest of the
Yeah,
day.
she looked purple.
So that was on you.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I was terrified of the cold plunge.
Yeah.
But those are all I mean, you guys are definitely on the same page. I feel like maybe it's different for women, like the effects and the certain time of the month or whatever it is, as far as like how you feel from using the cold plunge. I feel like there's certain times where your body's already in a stress state and maybe it's not a good thing. But those are all stuff that things that you teach at your, with the new business as well, Rallis Regimen. It's all about therapies and recoveries and all of those things that help you have a fuller, better life.
And I think that we're learning so much more about that. Like Tom Brady's actually the forefront of like, it's important to like stretch out. And like, I think for most of us, it's like, I'm doing chest today, so I will do this and this, and I'll do one of these and these. Now let's go lift heavy weights.
Yeah.
And Tom Brady talks about like, he's stretching for 45 minutes, an hour a day.
Yeah.
And like, now he has like his muscles and tendons are like long and stretched. And that's why he wasn't getting injured and played till he was 45. And I think we're learning so much more about like how important rest is and how important recovery is. I saw you guys also have a sauna in the backyard.
Yeah.
So you know all about this.
For sure.
Definitely.
I think like that was something that was hugely important to me, was being able to set those things up where we could do that stuff. And we, when we were living in Vegas, we had a gym that had those things, and it was nice, but it's actually like what ends up happening is you spend like 4 or 5 hours at the gym.
Yeah.
Where it's really nice when it's in your own backyard. And I know that's a huge luxury and privilege that we have, but like, I absolutely love it. 'Cause then I can do that in the morning, the cold plunge in the morning, and go eat breakfast and then go work out, come back, have lunch, go do the sauna. You know what I mean? Like I can weave it into my day.
I want to go back to the Madcap stuff for you, Mike. When do they decide like, all right, Madcap's done? Guess what? Your name is Riddick again.
Well, I actually found out via Twitter.
That's a good question.
A fan tweeted me, hey, they updated the website. He's back to Riddick Moss. So the communication for that one.
What?
Yeah. I mean, it was just, when you're a priority, you're a little bit more involved in those decisions. And then for whatever reason, I'll let everyone draw their own conclusions. But when I was in NXT, I wasn't much of a priority the beginning of the Madcap run until about halfway through, I think, 2022, I think. I was on every premium live event, what they're calling them now. I was on TV every week, and then
Something's
never
changed.
So do you send him a screenshot of that and go, hey, is my name Riddick, or is this a mistake?
Actually, yeah. I said, I actually got a tweet. Is this true? Like, yeah, you're like Riddick, but like, it's kind of like Madcap's a nickname now. And I was like, all right, whatever.
You got the moniker.
It was quite confusing.
You got the moniker.
It was confusing for a while there.
Yeah, and it was just like, we were being told, oh yeah, we're going to run with this character. And then it would be like, actually not quite yet. And then it's like, it would be confusing because it was like, oh, I won that. Randomly, I got this Intercontinental Championship match against Gunther, which
and he's still the champion.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Yeah.
I think there's, of all his championship matches, mine might have been the least believable that I could win that, just based on how
It was just out of nowhere. And
I mean, I hadn't even been on TV for months. Yeah. Cross beat me in a total of 6 minutes combined in 3 matches or something like that.
But then you had a good match, at least, like a long, believable match.
Gunther's unbelievable. He's so good. But yeah, I won a fatal 4-way the previous week. I pinned Rey Mysterio, top rope elbow drop, last time I've ever done it.
We were so shocked. We were like, "You're winning!"
But the idea was like, you kind of show some tendencies of being a heel, so like you're gonna steal this one. But then I stole it with like an elbow drop. But then some of the direction from certain people were like, well, we don't want him like booed out of the building. And it was just like very confusing. And then the next week I was like, am I like showing some signs of heel against Gunther? And they're like, no, he's the heel. So like, you're just full on babyface. And then it kind of just like trailed off and we didn't hear much about the heel.
How do you steal a victory though with an elbow drop?
These things get very overthought, and,
steal a victory with like a roll up.
Right. And the rationale was then he'll get booed out of the building. And I did put my hand up and say, is that not what we want? I thought we were kind of transitioning into the heel thing, and they're like, well, you have to be a babyface next week for Gunther, and it was
Weird
very
timing
confusing.
and yeah.
And honestly, what it could have been, it was just like, hey, just like throw them a bone, tell them they got something coming up.
But that
turn,
was a great match though. Like that's got to be one of your highlights in WWE.
Yeah, he's, like I said, I worked him on a few live events too. He's just so good. He's just got such a knack for knowing what should go where and when, and to just bring that intensity. And it was very easy to bring the intensity with him. So that was it was a fun couple of weeks there. It was sandwiched between the Super Bowl too, which we went to. So it was like a crazy, both shows were on the East Coast, where I was flying back and forth like for 3 consecutive days from Arizona to the East Coast and back. And yeah, I got the Intercontinental Championship match. That was fun.
What's the highlight for you, Tenille, in your WWE runs?
Runs. I was going to say in the last one.
You decide.
I don't know. What is the highlight for me? Far as
NXT, first NXT stuff especially, but the second NXT run too. I mean,
yeah,
those both
I was going to
stand
say,
out
do
to
you
me.
mean as far as like characters, or like I did have a lot of fun with Santino for starters, but as far as like my in-ring work, and like when I turned like the second run of NXT, like the first run of NXT was just fun with the dancing and everything.
Yeah, but you also, I mean, it wasn't just like it was all joke. I mean, I went back and watched your match with Paige like fairly recently, and like, first of all, it's like 25 minutes, and it's like really, really good stuff, and like,
so that
like all around. So, and like serious stuff, not just like they have the comedy woven in, but like intense physical looking stuff.
Well, yeah, and that was kind of the idea back then, was to kind of be that fun-loving character and relatable, I guess, but to also be able to go in the ring. So like I wasn't trying to be like, I can't wrestle, you know. So those were definitely like some of the most memorable moments, in the sense that, you know, we were like making history, and it's in the NXT history books that the first match I had with Paige, and we were the first women to wrestle on the pay-per-view, and then we wrestled for the first women's NXT championship. So those were like huge matches for me.
Yeah.
And to be getting those opportunities to be in that spotlight, to be pretty new to the company still and being used that much. And then that's when I went straight to the main roster basically after that run too. So like things were going really well for me. And I will say I did enjoy my matches, and it was NXT too, but the second run, NXT TakeOver London, I wrestled Asuka. That's probably one of my most enjoyable matches, in the sense I was a heel then, and Dana was with me ringside, but just the one being in the ring opposite Asuka at that time, the crowd absolutely loved her, and so there was just that energy in the arena, and they hated us. So it was just the most fun time where like we could get those huge reactions for doing, you know, the littlest nasty things. And so and because there was a good storyline that went on for a period of time, the people were invested in it, and that's what made, I think, the most memorable storylines and the most fun out of what I was doing.
It's hard to believe that it was 10 years ago, but let's go back to WrestleMania 30. When you're looking at that match card, do you realize the position that you're in just looking at the card? Like, you come on after Undertaker, Brock Lesnar.
You realize after the streak ends what position you're in. That's when you go, oh, okay.
But I assume you're looking at it, and they're keeping this, you know, close to the vest. You're looking at this and going, oh, it's Undertaker, Brock, it's Undertaker, WrestleMania. Of course, Undertaker's going to win. Then we have our match after. Mm-hmm. I was there. I remember like the air being sucked out of the building.
Oh,
like it was quiet for a long time after that. What was the feeling before? And then what was the feeling when you went out there?
I guess it really hadn't crossed my mind that Taker would lose, or that those thoughts hadn't really gone through my mind. And then basically I remember everyone was just super excited, you know, to be in that position, have this girls match and going out there.
And second last match of the night too.
Yeah, great. Yeah. My first WrestleMania.
Amazing.
This is amazing, you know, something I've always wanted to do. And then that happens. And I remember then all the girls start to kind of like look around and talk. And then there's people saying, oh, our match might get cancelled because of like the reactions or what's happening or if it's going long. Like, so we thought maybe we weren't even, or like, we're not even going to go out. I was like, what do you mean? What's happening? And then I'm seeing, you know, on the cameras and the screens, the reactions of people and everyone's devastated. There's an awkward silence. And then it just became awkward for us, or for me anyway, because then they were just kind of like, all right, we're going to do it. We're going to have the match. And they're just like, come on, get out there. So we just like filed out like side ramp to the ring. And then we all just kind of stood in the ring until we came back from whatever it was. And like they were ready to start the match. But it was just like, we were out there in front with everyone. And probably the last few entrances need to happen with the music. But the rest of us were already in the ring, and then was just looking around. Like, no one wanted to see our match at that time. No one cared about Divas Battle Royal.
Yeah. There was about 15 minutes or so of people all the fans. Yeah. I remember just being like, was that a mistake? Yeah. Like, did that actually, wait a second. What? He lost.
Yeah.
And then I think it was 22-1, I think, right? And that came up on the screen, and everyone went, oh, that was supposed to happen? Mm-hmm. Wait a second, what? And then next thing you know, you guys are out there.
Right,
we're like,
put the divas on now.
go. And we're like,
guys, come on.
We're still, what was that?
They were just still taking it all in. So, and I would say anybody that was going to follow that would have had a hard time, not just because we were females. But it definitely was just an awkward spot to be in because it just felt like no one's watching a match right now. They're all wondering what the hell just happened.
It reminded me a lot of what they did at WrestleMania 18. Like, I think a lot of people forget it was Rock Hogan, followed then by Trish, Lita, and Jazz in a three-way match. Then there was another match after that. And it's like, why wouldn't you just put Rock Hogan on last? Like, maybe Undertaker should have closed the show with his loss. And, well, then you wouldn't have had...
That was a great 30. Yeah, the 30 was...
Yeah. But then do you go to the back after that and go... What even just happened out there?
Yeah. And then actually there's a funny story. So not just that, but then in the match I had, you know, those kind of matches you kind of get like your little moment to shine kind of thing. And I was doing a little spot with Cameron. And I think I literally was doing my tarantula on the ropes and maybe like the low splash, something like that. And it was like my only thing I was going to do in the match, basically. So I was like, this is my time, you know? Yeah. And right before it happens, Cameron's like, my top broke, I can't do it. And I was like, what do you mean my top broke? Like, what am I supposed to do about that? I can't do your, 1 second, guys. Let me just tie this back up. Good to go. So I was like, she was like, someone, I don't know if she was telling me or someone else was like, yeah, maybe like I was with her in the corner or something. And she was kind of saying like, my top's not on. And I was like, we gotta go. This is my spot. So I like whipped her to the buckle and then, or whatever it was. And she comes in and we do the tarantula and my legs are literally like holding her top on while she's like selling in the corner. And then she takes it and rolls out. And then on the outside, she's like holding her top on.
Wow.
And
Go
I think
back
someone,
and watch, folks.
I don't think you could even tell. Probably no one ever knew. Yeah. But it's just funny because anyone who's been in a battle royal knows that usually you don't have a lot of time and it's kind of, you know, everyone's watching 30 people, whatever it is. Yeah. And you kind of get your moment to do a couple moves and that's it. And you just kind of take it. Yeah. And I thought like, looking back, I was like, that was the only spot I had. I was like, I'm doing that. But I also at the time thought, what else do we do? Like, I can't just not do anything now. Yeah. So it was kind of like on the spot, like, sorry, dude.
That could have gone so much worse for her.
Could have.
Yeah.
She could have just been completely exposed in a tarantula. Just completely exposed.
I can't believe
it's really funny to me now, like after I realized, because I guess in the time I just couldn't realize what was happening even. Yeah.
That could have been the worst wardrobe malfunction ever.
Yeah. But I bet people would have loved me for it. Yeah. I would have been so over.
Everybody's going to be going back and watching this frame by frame. Yeah. You know the comments on this video now on YouTube, like that of that match now on YouTube?
Okay.
It's going to be all because of this.
I want to go watch it back and see just like if you can tell. If you can tell, I'm kind of like, what do I do? I don't know.
Mike, did I see you eating venison heart? Like, I guess all of you guys were eating it.
Yeah.
But you were grilling up venison
I even
heart?
tried
Venison heart. Yep. So this past fall was my first fall hunting. And it's funny because like our first date, when she mentioned to me that
We're going to Greece.
her honeymoon would be in Greece, I told her, I'm thinking about getting into hunting. It's something I really want to do. And it took me a few years to do it, but I did it and like absolutely loved it. And a big part of why I want to do it is to actually harvest the meat from the animal and use it and feed myself and whoever will enjoy it with me.
Eat it.
And so I've done
to
a
be
roast.
more
I've
connected
done
with
some
your
steaks.
food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And there's just something special about knowing that no one else has touched this and just understanding where the food comes from. I think a lot of people disconnect from that.
And it's very nutrient dense as well.
Oh, yeah.
We're eating a lot of organ meat now.
Okay. Yeah.
We're we've got it where it's ground beef mixed in with venison heart and venison liver. Our baby loves it.
Oh, really?
Our little girl
Probably
loves
really
it.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen some of those mixes too. So I fried up some liver and grilled the heart, and the heart was delicious. The liver was okay. And then it was just,
It just didn't cook
I'll learn
well.
from it. Yeah, it was, I probably didn't dry it off enough. It was a little watery in the pan, so it didn't get like a good sear cooking.
I tried the meat. I mean, the
heart.
heart. And I guess I was a little scared, but I'm like, oh, okay, it just kind of tastes like meat, like a
This
beef
is a
or
point of
something.
contention between us. She's very turned off by the idea of eating the venison, but I'm trying to explain or understand why, because the beef comes from an animal too.
Yeah, and I said I think it's because he's been telling me so much about the hunting and how he caught it and how he
caught. This is a word that keeps getting thrown
Is
around.
it bow hunting?
Yes, it's
hunted
bow
it?
hunting. I
How do
didn't
you say?
capture it.
Harvested it?
Yeah.
and all of the things, and I just feel like I've heard too much where I'm like,
Yeah. So
There's
when
something
you eat
about
a
it.
cow, there's a disconnect there.
Yeah.
yeah, I guess it's just probably you're saying it's not
There's also
necessarily
maybe just like a sense of comfort that it's gone through some processing.
Sure.
Whereas like with me,
yeah,
it
he was
like,
just learning how to do
yep,
it, and
then
so I'm
put
kind
it
of
in the
like,
bag,
is this
put it in the
good
freezer.
to eat?
Yeah.
But we also did do like a slow cooked venison as well, and I ate that for dinner with you. So I did eat that one.
Yeah, she tried it. I had most of it.
Why Phoenix? Why'd you guys land in Phoenix?
So, long story short, from Orlando, I kind of just wanted to try something new when I could go anywhere. And I landed in Vegas, which I loved. And for probably all the reasons that you think, such as the weather and the state income tax and the big airport, could still travel around.
Sure.
But I kind of loved the West. I love the big empty space. I love the mountains. And then Vegas has its, Vegas side too. That's a little bit of a turnoff to, at least to us. And Phoenix has a lot of the same qualities as Vegas, but not the Vegas stuff. And then what kind of put it over the top is my little brother got a job. He's the defensive coordinator for the Cardinals.
That's a pretty good job.
Yeah. Well, and he was, I think he was 20. Anyway, he's still the youngest coordinator, even though he's had that job for a year now. I think he's
Incredible.
I've had a hard time verifying this, but I think the youngest defensive coordinator of all time in the NFL.
Wow.
So he's 29 when he got that job.
Proud
he's just like
big brother.
Wow.
he's killing it. Yeah. So he's got a nephew, or I've got a nephew. He's got a kid, and so it was just attractive since we were already thinking about going there to be near family. And the way the NFL is, they'll probably be out of there in a couple of years.
Yeah, he's going to be a head coach in no time.
I think so. Yeah.
Probably. But yeah, he was coaching for the Eagles. That's why I went to the Super Bowl the year before.
Wow. Yeah.
And then we basically all moved at the same time to Arizona.
Wow.
Yeah.
You guys have a lot going on.
Yeah.
And it's exciting. Yeah. And it's exciting to know that there's like so many things to look forward to in 2024 for you guys, with a little wrestling sprinkled in there from the sounds of it.
Yeah.
Yep.
What's the best way that everyone can connect with you? Rhyme off the websites again, but like what's the best way that people can connect with you?
On Instagram and Twitter, I'm at the Mike Rallis, RallisRegimen.com, and then our YouTube, Where To Next, Honey.
There's like an at in there. At Where To Next, Honey.
Okay.
I'm going to subscribe to you from both of my channels right now.
Yes.
Nice.
Yep, that's right. So this is a plug
Subscriber.
for your channels and also a plug for mine. So.
Yes. And then for me, my travel website is bucketlosttravels.com. and my Instagram is at real Tenille Dashwood. And I'm actually, the other thing I didn't mention is hosting a group trip this year.
Yeah.
So it's like the first time I've done it. I'm really excited I'll be the host along with a local guide in whichever place I decide on. But I've just been like surveying my audience and everything, and I'm about to decide where we're going. And then we'll be doing a trip this year with whoever wants to join, basically.
You guys now have 31.3 thousand. I don't know. I gave you 2 more subscribers there. You have 31,000 subscribers.
Thank you.
Plus 2 more from me.
Yeah. And I guess we should mention too, what we're taking a short break from the travel for now because we just need to go do the traveling and then post the content later. But we're going to keep posting content on there that might appeal to a wider range of audience,
Or
including
our wrestling audience,
including our wrestling
But you're going to
audience.
have a video there that's going to like pop in a big way. Actually, I'm very curious here. I nerd out about YouTube. So your most viewed video right now, I'm sure you guys already know this, right? Oh, this is still your old channel, so you got all those videos.
Yeah. So the last time I looked, the ones that we put out this year, the Finland one
was the most popular.
There it is, Finland, A Winter Wonderland Part 2.
Yeah.
It's a pretty great thumbnail.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Winter Wonderland Part 1 with the igloos.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been on some pretty epic trips.
Yeah.
I'll give you guys some thumbnail tips here that'll really pop these things.
Okay.
That's
yeah, we're learning a lot about all of this right now, just creating the content, and there's a lot that goes into it, and just like it's time consuming.
What I was saying is you're going to get a video that's going to pop. Like somebody's going to go, oh my gosh, like I'm just going to make this up here. Amsterdam for, $500 or whatever, whatever it happens to be. Someone's going to, jump on that and it's going to get spread everywhere. So it's just a matter of time. But
then we'll get a TV show hosting as travel guides, right?
There it is.
Yeah.
There it is.
Manifesting.
Sweet.
So I end every interview with the same question. This is going to be great because both of you guys are here. Gratitude's such a big part of my life.
Yeah.
So I end every interview asking my guests, what are 3 things you're grateful for? Because I wake up every day and I do that and I say them out loud before I go to bed as well. So Tenille, we'll start with you. What are 3 things you're grateful for?
Thankfully, I can think for a second.
You can copy her answers.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I'm grateful for my health. I'm grateful for my family and friends. And I'm grateful that I have Mike in my life, and then I'll be marrying the man of my dreams soon.
That's very sweet.
That went way too quick. I don't have.
Jeez, there was not a lot of time to think there, Mike.
I mean, it's easy.
But she had
Yeah,
them.
it
Just-
is
I mean, there's
easy,
simple things.
and I do agree with what you said. I guess just for me, whenever I love like philosophy, and whenever
Overthinking it.
well, yeah, I just want to give like a detailed and well thought answer. That's just the way my mind works.
Just answer the
and
question.
so, like for me, it's I saw Kofi post something the other day that was just like all we really have is how we can control. You can't control time, so all you can do is determine how you spend it, and spending quality time, and just be grateful for it. And so, like at the end of the day, the thing I'm most grateful for is the fact that I'm even alive. And sometimes I just have to like pinch myself and like take a step back. Like, this is crazy that we're here. And we get in, I sometimes get on these rants, but like we're on this rock floating through space in this,
hurling through space.
Yeah.
Yes.
just stuck on one of the sides.
Just such a tiny, unimportant part of all
But
that.
then at the same time, we're a part of something so big, and we are undeniably a part of that.
Yeah.
And it's just like very profound for me to think of things that way, where it's like everything is so important, and how that we talk to each other every day, and that we are grateful for our lives together, which that is one thing for sure. I've said this a few times, like, one day we'll look back and think of these as like great times of just us trying out all these new things together in our new home in Phoenix, and like just having each other and being able to spend time with my nephew who's right down the street, who won't always be right down the street from me. And like, those things. To summarize my long-winded, this was probably supposed to be like a 30-second segment.
But just to bounce off of that, I heard that I heard a quote that was like, there's 2 ways to live life, that every moment is important or that no
nothing
moment is
is.
important. I was like, wow, that's so true, right? That everything matters in life, or that nothing matters in life. And it's like this idea of like time's a construct, right? Like you can't have this exact moment. You can't grab onto it, right? Because it's always like, it's fleeting. And you can't go back and relive this exact moment because this moment is here right now and you need to appreciate it for what it is. So I very much am in agreement with what you're saying.
Yeah. Yep. I totally agree with that. It's a strange existence.
Basically,
and it's hard to wrap your mind
Yeah.
around it.
We
But
just need to enjoy life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, I certainly side with everything is important.
Yeah, everything's a miracle. That might have been the real quote. Like everything's a miracle or nothing's a miracle.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and it's like, and certainly there's nuance that you can eventually get into, but at the end of the day, I do agree. Like everything that you do matters.
Yeah.
And maybe matters cosmically. And so to summarize, I appreciate the fact that I'm alive.
Point number one, yeah.
I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for our life together and how we are able to spend it with each other and so much of our time together. And also that I'm so close to family, including my nephew, who's right down the street. He's my best friend. So
I love that. Thank you guys for making the time here. I can't wait to see all of your adventures. What's the next YouTube video going to be?
Probably the wedding.
That'll be,
Oh, sorry. That's the
that
next
will be the
travel
next
one.
travel.
Okay.
We'll do something. We're still figuring out exactly what it will be. It may just be us sitting down and talking. But we'll keep putting out content.
We've already got the sitting down and talking. That's what we're doing here right now.
It is. And it's been a great conversation.
This has been fantastic. So again, thank you guys. Congratulations on everything that you guys have going on as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.